Let's go.
Let's do it.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Black and Blue Pod, the Philly sports-based podcast where we will talk shit, brew some egos. It took me 100 episodes to get the introduction right.
Really?
Because I was like, I listened back and I was like, no one knows what like black and blue means.
Yeah.
So like bruised ego.
Yeah. No, you told me this.
Jay-Z dropping gems here. Not at all.
Very clever of you.
New co-host, Liam Higgins, of course. We're going to be talking about a lot of Philly stuff, a lot of Philly developments, Philly's first impressions, which is kind of a big deal because I think this team could go very far.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, Matt.
I am totally drinking the Kool-Aid. Eagles make a huge draft trade.
Yes.
And Sixers giving me anxiety attacks and taking years off my life. So, first thing though, Dwayne Haskins and Gary Brown, two football passings, unfortunately, and it sucks because Dwayne Haskins was a guy like, his football career was not how most people would have projected that it was going to go, but he was still a great guy. Like, he still gave to a lot of causes, gave to a lot of charities, and I saw like his entire clothing line is completely sold out.
Yeah, just got engaged too. So that was.
Yeah, and it just sucks, man, because this is a young guy that's 24, and there's still no like concise or clear evidence to say like why he was on the highway.
Yeah.
Which was, I think a lot of people were asking like, why is he?
Very suspicious. Yeah.
I saw some reports that say he was like trying to cross the street, cross the highway, and I'm like, why?
But at 7 a.m.
So my theory was that he was like doing a workout, like going for a run or something, and then unfortunately that just happened. Yeah. And Gary Brown was a guy that like, he had a legacy at Penn State, and he played in 8 NFL seasons, which is still impressive by most standards. And it sucks, man, because both of these guys were people that were making their marks not only in football, but like off the field and just helping athletes and helping just people in general. Yeah. And it just sucks. It just really sucks.
It's awful. Yeah, I mean, like one thing I saw about Gary Brown, which really caught my eye, was when he played at Penn State, and he played in the late 80s, and in 1989, one of their running backs came back, and he ended up switching positions to safety, and instantly became the starter that same season. Like the dude,
bro, we need a safety. Like, could you just hop in the back?
The dude literally led the team in rushing the year before, switches to safety, and start like that. Just a testament to how
I wonder
superb an athlete that guy is.
I wish I could have asked him like, yeah, did you just enjoy like just laying dudes out in the middle of the field more than actually running the ball? But yeah, it's sad. Yeah. But hopefully you can find foundations that they supported and just help these people out in any way that we can. Yeah. So let's move on. Sixers. Perhaps the most confusing NBA team I've ever seen in my life. So like, good news, Joel Embiid wins the scoring title. Yeah. First center since Shaq. Yep. On the other hand, James Harden is like, what? Like, I don't know. James Harden. This is an analogy I was gonna make. James Harden's the guy that like asks you to go out a lot, and then you're like, all right, fine, I'll go with you to a bar, and then you end up having a fun time at the bar, and then he immediately like wants to leave, and you're like, wait, why would we leave? Why would we leave this? We're having a good time. We're talking to people. Yeah. And he's just like, no, dude, let's go to this other bar. I got another spot. And then you go with him to another spot.
He's never content.
He's never content. He's always looking for a new spot. Yeah. And, like, this is the last thing that the Sixers need. And with the Matisse Thybulle situation of him not being able to play in the first-round series, now the playoffs are set, and they got to play the freaking Toronto Raptors. Yeah. It's like, what could happen? Like, what is good? Like, how far can this team go, do you think?
Well, first of all, when I think of the Raptors, right? Yeah. They're just a lengthy team. Like, they're just 6'8" and above, like, just 7-foot wingspan. And really, I think the only person can like, match that is Matisse. Like, I mean, if you want to throw Danny Green in there, maybe, but, like, he's getting up there in age. But that's a huge loss. I mean, if we were to play, like, the Bulls or something, I think that might not have been as big of a loss, but...
So how do you think? So like, the way I see it, the only way that the Sixers like reach the finals is like Tyrese Maxey just like really consistently becomes that number 2 guy.
I agree, but I also want to say that I think Shake Milton is going to be really key.
He had what, 30-piece?
We've seen him in the playoffs do his shit. Like, we've seen it.
But, bro, I don't want to rely on Shake Milton to get us.
But who else are we going to rely on if Matisse isn't there? Furkan Korkmaz?
Furkan point guard. Yeah. No, it's just, and like you mentioned, the length. like Scotty Barnes and Pascal.
Yeah.
Siakam's going to be a major problem. And, like, I don't know if you listened to Joel Embiid's interview on JJ Redick's podcast.
I did not know.
So it's a pretty good interview. And he talks about, like, when he first came into the league, he wanted to block every shot. And now he's, like, kind of toning it down a little bit because he knew he could score on the other end. Mm-hmm. And I'm, like, as a fan, I'm listening to this, and I'm like, bruh, no, like, now we're, like, going to need you to block every single shot. Because, like, what's James Harden going to do? James Harden is more defense. Joel Embiid went from one teammate that's a mental health case that doesn't want to play to another teammate that's a mental health case that doesn't want to play in the city that he's in. Yeah. And it's like, what's going to happen? Like, Thibault, I think, is the biggest X factor. Third in the league in steals per game. Top 20 in blocks per game for a shooting guard slash small forward.
He just does all the little things.
Exactly.
That's what he does.
And
you need someone like that on every team.
Yes, you need that, and
especially on championship teams.
And so
PJ Tucker the Bucks.
Yeah, and you just need those guys that are just going to be pests and just like absolutely annoy the shit out of other teams. And when I'm looking at like the potential like bracket, so like the play-in hasn't been decided yet, so we don't know like who the 7-8 seeds are. Yeah. But assuming the Sixers beat the Raptors. Mm-hmm. Sorry. They got to play the winner of the Miami versus the 8 seed. So that could be Brooklyn or Cleveland. And then they got to play the winner out of the entire other region, which could be Boston, Chicago, or Milwaukee. And I don't think Atlanta's going to repeat what they did last year. I think that's safe to say.
Hopefully not.
They're not going to, because this team is like, it's Trae Young, but like no one else. They don't play defense. Yeah. And they're not the Nets where they have the offensive firepower to get away with it. Right. They can't do that. Yeah. So I don't think the Hawks repeat what they do. The Hornets, they'll be cool to like see how LaMelo plays in the playoffs.
Still very young, but got a promising future.
Yeah, like Miles Bridges has been shut down in games against the Sixers. Yeah. But looking at the rest of the field, like Milwaukee concerns me, Boston concerns me, Brooklyn doesn't scare me as really? Like I know. So people want to point back to like, oh, it's the Ben Simmons return game, whatever, like in early March, and now seeing this team in the last couple of weeks, they don't play any fucking defense, and in the playoffs you have to play defense. Yeah. Sure, KD and Kyrie will get their buckets. KD dropped 55, and the Nets still fucking lost to the Hawks.
Yeah.
Anything can happen in the playoffs when it's in half-court sets and stuff like that. And I think that will benefit Harden a lot, where he has time to slow it down and manipulate and probe. But I really fucking hope that Doc Rivers has gotten through to him like, hey, you need to step up for us, because it's not just your ass that's on the line. It's Joel Embiid. It's this entire organization. It's my fucking job that's on the line if you don't perform well. And the key to all that may be B-Ball Paul. Paul Reed.
I mean, you said it, not me.
Paul Reed.
I remember when he came in as a rookie, and he was probably the most like raw offensive dude I've ever seen. Like he just like tripping over his own feet. You know, he could barely catch the ball.
Yeah, it was like a dude that just figured out how to use his limbs.
Yeah.
He's still trying to figure that out.
And I watched the game the other day, and he makes this reverse, and I'm just like, is that Paul Reed? Like what? Like
double force, baby.
Like, what the hell did I just see? But yeah,
did you see Doc said we're not on a Paul Reed victory tour?
I saw that today.
Bruh,
just come on,
Glenn.
Give him some hype.
Glenn, relax. All right, we want more B-Ball Paul. Yeah. And if you're looking for a guy to replace Matisse Thybulle, Paul Reed can be that exact guy. He fits that exact body.
He's lengthy. He is lengthy.
He's a lengthy bull.
Yeah.
So, do we think the Sixers get out of this series? Because ideally, I
think it's going to go 6 or 7 games.
Yeah.
But if it goes 7 games, I'm going to say no.
Yeah, because Game 7 in Toronto already has their demons.
Yeah.
And I want to ride with this team so bad.
So do I. And I know you were a huge fan of the James Harden trade.
I was such a huge fan.
And I was on the other end of the spectrum. And I was like...
So when I was first telling people that were like, oh, if James Harden comes here, we win a championship. I'm like, whoa. This is still the Philadelphia 76ers that we're talking about. A championship is never guaranteed by any stretch of the imagination. And so, like, when I'm looking at that and, like, Harden, when he's at his best, yes, we've seen this team, like, blow out other opponents. Yeah. And Game 7 in Toronto, if you don't have Matisse Thybulle, and that home crowd is just rocking.
Yeah.
I think Fred VanVleet has had like 32 points per game in the season series or something like that, which is nuts.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just like, I want to ride for the Sixers, but at the same time, I'm like, fuck, I don't know if I can.
I'm gonna say,
it's a classic Philly fan dilemma. You're walking on pins and needles.
Yeah, it's gonna go 6 or 7 games, but
I'm gonna say Sixers steal 1 in Toronto, and they win in 6.
I like that.
I think they win in 6. I think they win in 6.
I think they either win in 6 or lose in 7.
Well, you got to pick one. What does your gut tell you right now?
I think it's going to be just like the Kawhi situation, Game 7, right down to the wire, and we're just going to... James Harden's going to make a turnover, someone's going to get injured. I don't know, dude. I literally just don't have any trust in this team.
I know, because, like, that's exactly how I felt. Like, that's exactly what being a Philly fan is. It's just like, you're just like... Something's going to go horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Something's going to go horribly wrong. So we'll take a quick break. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be right back in a few minutes. The Nick Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber experiment. Phillies are 2-1. Took 2 out of 3 from the Athletics. There was a little bit of a scare in that second game.
Yeah.
Not going to lie. There was a little bit of a scare. But still, Castellanos and Schwarber both have 1 home run. I think Schwarber has 2 home runs so far.
Yeah.
Through 3 games. And baseball's exciting in Philly again. Like, they actually have an offense that can produce runs. And with Aaron Nola's... So, like, what'd you think of Aaron Nola's first outing?
You know, like, Aaron Nola's one of those guys where, like, you know, we always talk about, like, the Phillies don't have pitching, but he's the guy that we have to rely on. Like, he has to be consistent. Him and Wheeler have to carry us to some of these wins because, as we've seen some first 3 games, they're very low scoring, okay? So you're going to have to pitch the ball.
I mean, 9-5 is low scoring to you?
I mean...
That's low scoring?
With all the sluggers that we have?
9 runs?
I don't know,
Bro,
man.
do you remember this team? This team could barely scrape together like 3.
I don't know. I think Aaron Nola, I like him, but, you know, there was that point last season where everyone was like...
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about him because like he came into the season with so much hype and then he just kind of went down. But
I think he's just showing so much incredible wear and tear.
Yeah.
And one thing that is important to keep in mind is his contract.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be paid $15 million this year. He has a $16.6 million club option next season, and then he becomes an unrestricted free agent. He's been pretty reliable. He started in 30-plus games in 3 of the last 4 seasons. But 2018 was his only season where he's had an ERA under 3. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's just the old school guy in me looking at only ERA and being like, oh, this is like not good. But he had such a great outing until it was the 7th inning. Threw that 1 pitch. It's the same old, threw that 1 pitch, and it's just another 3-run, 2-run homer that brings it to within 1 run. And it sucks because it feels like every single time, the last couple of starts that he's had dating back to last season, he's put it together, and then it's a 1 fucking pitch. It's a 1 pitch that he throws. It's like a hanging curveball or something like that, and it just goes into the stands. And with the addition of, when you add in also Mickey Moniak's injury with that hairline fracture, it was just a backbreaker that the team didn't need before. Because if you take the Mickey Moniak in spring training, again, those were like Hall of Fame numbers. Obviously, he's not going to duplicate that. But if you take that Mickey Moniak with that same mentality and attitude going up to the plate, and you throw him in instead of Matt Vierling, I think things play out a little bit differently in some of these games. But like long term, like who else could really win the National League besides the Dodgers? We know the Dodgers.
And the Braves lost Freeman, so that's big.
Braves lost Freeman. They added Matt Olson, too. Yeah. And the Mets, you can't count on Jacob deGrom to be healthy. You can't count on Max Scherzer to be healthy a full season. So when I'm looking at this, I'm like, when I'm looking at the rest of the National League specifically, I'm like, there's no reason to say that the Phillies can't win the National League or at least go far where they get into an NLCS. Yeah. Can you imagine an NLCS in, like, CBP again?
Park. Oh, baby.
Absolute electric factory. That's exactly what Philly needs. But I don't know, how is the defense cause for concern for you?
Yeah, I mean, everyone keeps talking about, like you just said, Schwarber and Castellanos are absolutely killing it right now. So I think the defense is really, going to be
because there have been some
the biggest factor.
There have been some.
I saw Bryce Harper. Ball popped out to him in right field and went off the wall, and he just la la land. Like I'm just like, come on, dude. Like,
you're yelling at your TV.
Like, let's go.
Yeah, you're yelling at your TV, and then you do the classic Guido move. It's like I could have caught that fucking fly ball. It's like, okay, dude, relax.
Yeah, but
so. Do you have an early season prediction for this team? I'm predicting NLCS at least right off the bat. I am totally fine with laying it all out on the table.
I think we make the playoffs.
Okay.
Right? I do think we make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I don't want to make any
assumptions.
Assumptions, exactly. I don't want to make any predictions about this team yet, because I don't know how. It's been 3 games, right? We can't just say right off the bat, oh yeah, they're going to the NS. I mean, maybe you want to say that, but I'm not going to say that.
I definitely want to say that. Manifesting.
But
come on.
By game, 50 maybe. Well, maybe we reconsider.
Game 50. Going to the All-Star break.
Yeah. But I just think there's a lot of new guys in this lineup, and it obviously Bryce Harper wants to be there. I don't know what Castellanos is like. I don't know what Schwarber is like in the locker room, but I think with Haskins, with Bryce Harper, you got 2 guys right there that are legitimate hitters.
And Haskins has been looking refreshed at the plate. He's really thriving in that being underneath Castellanos and Schwarber, because he doesn't have that pressure. I forget who was. I think it was Ricky Batalico or Ben Davis on the post-game live. One of them said that Haskins will have plenty of opportunities to score RBIs because he's underneath those guys. And this team will be a lot different because it's not pressure to just score 4 runs and hang on for dear life.
Yeah.
So, Philly fans, plenty to be optimistic about. We'll be right back talking Birds, because not only did they bring back the Kelly Green jerseys, but Howie's getting a little active in the trade market. I like it. So, draft day trade, how could it officially affect the Phillies? Oh, I'm still on baseball. How could it affect the Birds' draft day plans? And also, we got to talk about the Kelly Green jerseys, because those were just...
Have to.
In fuego. In fuego. All right. Comment, subscribe. We'll be back after this break. Matt McLaughlin, Liam Higgins, Black and Blue Pod. Eagles are making some moves. Howie's getting a little active. Draft trade with the Saints. The Eagles get number 18 in this year's draft, number 101 in this year's draft, and number 237. Got all of those 237 picks in this year's draft, plus a first rounder next year and a second rounder in 2024. Saints get number 16 and 19 in this year's draft, and also number 194. So, I think a lot of people, when I first saw the tweet by Shefty, I was like, we just gave up 2 of our first round picks this year.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought too.
I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah.
So, what did you think about this trade?
I mean, we got a first rounder for next year, so that's great.
But you know what Howie's going to do, right?
That's what I'm saying.
He's going to draft the quarterback.
That's why I'm
He's
excited.
Draft the quarterback.
I'm excited, but I don't want Kenny Pickett. All right.
Yeah, for real. Not a lot. From what I'm seeing, not a lot of teams are hyped about this year's QBs. So I think teams are going to try and look and trade out of where they are. But with the Saints, they are so strapped for cash. I got to look up their specific salary cap number, but it's something crazy. And I think that's why Sean Payton left, because he was like, I ain't dealing with this shit. I'm fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And so the New Orleans Saints at the moment, let me see if I can find it, have about $20 million in cap space, which isn't bad, but when this is a team that has a lot of holes to fill, that $20 million is going to get stretched really thin.
Yeah.
So clearly they're going to look to try and find some gems in the draft. And for once, I'm actually going to give Howie credit, because he took advantage of a draft situation that in a way that a lot of GMs normally can't get. And This draft is all about either getting a cornerback or a linebacker, in my opinion. You got to figure out if you're trading up for Derek Stingley Jr. or Sauce Gardner, or you find a linebacker somehow.
Would you mind a receiver? Because
No.
Okay.
Depending on the receiver, though.
Okay.
I don't want Jahan Dotson. I'm sorry. I love Jahan Dotson here at Penn State.
Fair enough.
But, like, I don't want, like, the Kansas City Chiefs, like, we're just going to speed everyone to death.
Okay.
Because that just clearly, it worked the Chiefs once, and then they decided to trade Tyreek Hill this offseason.
Yeah.
So, Traylon Burks would be the wideout I would want.
Really?
Dude, did you watch that Arkansas Ole Miss game?
No.
This man, he's a man. He's a grown-ass man, and he's just going up and getting it. And I forget how many touchdown catches he had. He might have had like 3 or 4. And he's a perfect go-up-and-get-it dude, like Alshon Jeffrey, but like if Alshon Jeffrey was like 10 years younger. And I think that's exactly what they need to pair with Devontae Smith. And they do want to go the wide receiver route. If you're going to just go cornerback, just get Derek Stingley Jr., bro.
So do you think they're going to choose him with, would he be worthy of the 15th or the 18th pick?
I would take the gamble, see if you can get him at 18.
Okay.
Because I don't think I think it's going to be a lot of teams in the 20s that are going to be interested in him.
Okay.
I don't think it'll be necessarily the Saints. Like, I don't think the Saints are going to be looking to add a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And I would much rather spend a high draft pick on a cornerback because it feels like it's been so fucking long since they've actually done that. And
so you're not high on Olave? Because he said he was a Philly fan growing up.
Yeah, no, I get that, and he's. But like, if it comes down to Olave or Stingley, I'm gonna take Stingley because, like, I'd much rather pick Stingley than run another year of Darius Slay, who had a really good year, and I don't think he gets enough credit, and Avonte Maddox as your top. Like, I love me some Avonte when he's ball hawking, but he can't be your number 2 guy.
And then McLeod, obviously.
Yeah, but Cloud leaves, and you need a safety, and like Kayvon Wallace, like how much is he really going to shine? So if you can get another lockdown cornerback this year, I wouldn't be surprised if they like take a receiver and thought like, oh, we could get Stingley later.
Yeah,
and it's like it's a Jalen Reagor, Justin Jefferson situation all over again.
So what about McDuffie?
Again, like my heart is either set on that first pick. You got to either get Gardner or Stingley. Because like Gardner didn't allow a touchdown pass, I think, all year.
So you think Gardner's going to drop that low?
I don't think Gardner's going to drop that low. If he does,
you have to get him.
Like, because I think what I'm seeing on like articles and stuff is that like a lot of teams are deciding between those two at cornerback, and I think it'll come down to the competition level. Yeah. And see like, okay, do we want to take a chance on the guy that played in the SEC. He dealt with a foot injury, but he played in the SEC nonetheless and was a stud on that championship team. Yeah. Or do we want to take a flyer on the guy that's in Cincinnati who he didn't allow a touchdown, but he played in
Cincinnati.
He played for Cincinnati. Yeah. So I think it's gonna come down to that. Yeah. And I would just take Stingley. It's like championship pedigree. Yeah. He's a dog.
I mean, we learned our lesson with Justin Jefferson, didn't we?
No, we haven't, because we gave Howie Roseman a fucking 3-year extension. I don't know where this fucking money's coming from, but apparently he's getting it.
Oh my gosh, get the guy to TCU over Mr. LSU, Joe Burrow. Oh my gosh.
Don't even. Whenever that video pops up of like the Vikings front office like laughing at the Eagles,
I know.
I want to throw my phone like into a wall. Yeah. It pisses me off so much. It pisses me off so much. So what do you think? What do you think about this trade?
I mean, I love it. I think that, like you said, I think there's definitely a need for defensive back, especially with McLeod leaving. He was probably one of our better ones for last 5 or 6 years. And then, like you said, Maddox is getting up there in age, and I actually like Wallace. To be honest with you, I think he's all right. I think he's decent.
There are just so many missed tackles. It's like Jalen Mills at safety, and I'm like, what the fuck?
But the funny thing is, I think since we're on the topic of the Saints, I really do miss what's his name?
Malcolm Jenkins?
No, not only Malcolm Jenkins, but the dude from West Virginia.
Rasul Douglas.
Rasul Douglas.
Yeah, the corner.
I loved Rasul Douglas.
He was such a bum, and then he got cut by Jacksonville, I think.
Dude, for some reason, I think honestly it was just because like I hated Jalen Mills.
Oh yeah.
And I just saw him on the other side, and I'm like, you know what, this dude's just so much better. Like, I'm gonna take him over any other guy. You know me, I'm Philly through and through. I'm like, this is my dude right here, and I just couldn't understand why they never kept him. But that's another.
Because I think Mills like he embraced Philly so much that like they were like we can't. Like,
yeah, he dyed his hair green and everything. Blah blah.
Exactly. So, all right, we also got to talk about Kelly Green jerseys coming back.
I'm loving them.
I'm hyped. 2023, baby.
Yep.
So, are you gonna cop a Devontae Smith Kelly Green jersey?
I think so. It's definitely on my Christmas list. I got another midnight green one back home, but I think I can afford another one.
I have to fuck the midnight green. Like I'm totally on board with fuck the midnight green. Yeah, because all the jerseys I have that are midnight green, all the Eagles jerseys I have in general are like dudes that are gone, like Carson Wentz, Zach Ertz, LaShawn McCoy, and Deshaun Jackson. And I'm like, fuck me then. All right, cool. Where do you think, I was thinking about this today, where do you think it stacks up in the rest of the NFL, like jerseys?
With throwbacks or just with jerseys?
It could be like, I was thinking throwbacks because I'm like writing a blog, like which teams should bring back jerseys. Like,
I mean, it's up there, man. Like I don't know. I'm trying to.
The Dolphins have sick ones. Like if you go back to like the 70s when they had like the undefeated year.
Yeah.
Denver with the Elways are so dope. Mm-hmm. If I could make out to a Houston Oilers jersey, I would.
Yeah.
There's powder blue with oh my god,
amazing.
And then there's the Patriots. The Patriots have the best throwbacks.
Those are nice.
And have the bottom like worst jersey of all. Like the jerseys they have now, I fucking want to burn them. Not only because it's the Patriots, it's just so 2000s to look at.
Yeah.
I hate the navy blue. I hate the helmet. I hate it all.
That's what they're about, though. Traditional,
Well,
coaches.
Kraft said he's never going to change the jerseys until Brady leaves, and now Brady's left. I'm like,
Oh, okay.
All right. I'm like, all right, come on, Bobby. Come on. Have you seen the Curtis Martin Patriots jerseys with like the big Patriot logo on the shoulder pads?
I think so, yeah.
Those are. I want the back. I want the back.
Those are pretty
I want
sick,
I want the Patriots, the 49ers, and the Cowboys to all bring back the jerseys from like the 90s with like the massive logos on the shoulder pads.
Okay.
I want that look coming back, but that's just my personal preference. I'm just gonna start geeking out over jerseys now. But yeah, that does it all for us here at the Black and Blue Pod. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe on iTunes, subscribe on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube while you're at it, and leave a comment, leave a like, and we will catch you in the next episode. So thank you all for tuning in. Sweet.